welcome to this special playoff edition of BYFL Game Day. I'm your host, Cooper Kelly, here. Braden Sully and Nathan McAleer are not here because they are out getting D1 offers and getting looked at by coaches for some lax. But as you can tell, Hurricane Matthew has just hit the sort of coast here in Frisco, Texas. It's going to be a very special and intense weekend of some BYFL football. But let's head to some breaking news. First of all, Arash Shakib, he says he has a sprained knee. Possibly, I think it's a torn meniscus. But he will not be in action this week against the Longhorns in their semifinal matchup. And in other news, the Hornets are trying to protest to get a play-in game for the playoffs. We do not think that will stand. We think there will be no play-in game as ruled by the committee. So after this quick commercial break, we'll be breaking down the games of last week, see who's in the playoffs, standouts, and Heisman race. We'll see you right after this commercial break. Welcome back from this commercial break. Now we are going to be breaking down the games from last week, week 6. The Mustangs defeated the Aggies 39-36. Arash Shakib with 7 passing touchdowns, 3 rushing touchdowns. He was just on fire in that game. No interceptions, like he's been continuing the streak week in and week out. The Gator Athlete of the Year, Jake Knight, not living up to the expectations. He had 5 receiving touchdowns, but I mean, it's just short as the Aggies fall to the Mustangs in a nail-biter. And then the Longhorns and the Hornets went into overtime with the Longhorns winning 41-40. Josh Kula of the Hornets, the last year's Heisman Trophy winner, or as Nathan calls it, the Harambe Award. Josh Kula had 7 rushing touchdowns and 5 throwing. He's more of a running quarterback than a passing quarterback. Some people like to call him a running back in some aspects of the game. And Matthew Kessel, no interceptions on the defensive side of the ball. That's different this week. Usually he's getting a bunch of picks, but he was doing it all on the offensive side of the ball, throwing for 12 passing touchdowns in this one, and his team got the victory in overtime. And the Dolphins and the Panthers, my team, the Dolphins, our game got canceled because of weather. I think it might have to do with this Hurricane Matthew over here. But yeah, it got canceled due to the weather, and then it was going to be rescheduled, but because the game didn't really mean anything, we just kind of, just waved it off. And some of my standout players of last week, I'm going to have to go with the quarterback of the Mustangs, Arash Shakib. He's just rolling right now. I don't really think anyone can stop him. He's just throwing passes. He's connecting with Logan Munoz very well, like he did not do very much in the opening start of the season. And my standout player in the Hornets-Longhorns game, I got to give it to Matthew Kessel. He played an outstanding game, connecting with Garrett Field multiple times. And he also connected with Ryan Roddy a few times, and that was very key in the game. A little crossing routes got Ryan open and was able to get the W that well. And if the Dolphins and Panthers would have played, my standout player of the week, it's obviously just got to be every single player of the Dolphins. I mean, they play so well as a team, and every player is just standout. It's any aspect of the game, they just stand out. I mean, they're just a fantastic team. I'm saying that because I'm on the team, but anyways, I think Will Long, he's a great teammate. So is Chase Aiken. They're fantastic players. I feel like Will's got a great shot at winning the Heisman. I think he deserves to win the Heisman Trophy. And I also feel like Chase Aiken should win the Special Teams Player of the Year for the 2nd straight season. And that's where I lead myself, into the Heisman Trophy race. I got Braden and Nathan's Heisman Trophy candidates. Let's see here. So Braden is number 1. He's sticking with Will Long for the 4th straight week in a row now. And he has myself, Cooper Kelly, at number 2. Number 3, he's got a little shakeup. He's bringing in Hornets wide receiver Sam Reynolds into the mix there. And then at number 4, he has Matthew Kessel. And some of his honorable mentions are Arash Shakib and Josh Kula. And let's look at Nathan's Heisman list. He number 1, yet again, is Will Long. Number 2, he has Sam Reynolds. Number 3, he has Cooper Kelly, and number 4, he has Matthew Kessel. So all pretty much the same, just a little mix-up of the 2 and 3 positions from Nathan and Braden. And we're going to split to a commercial break, and when we come back, we're going to be breaking down the playoff games and the Grapefruit Bowl presented by Sprint when we come back after this commercial break. Welcome back from our commercial break. Now we will be breaking down the games for this week's matchups. The first game, we have the Grapefruit Bowl presented by Sprint, which will be the Hornets and the Panthers, the battle for basically last place. This is gonna be a dogfight here. I feel like both quarterbacks are considered running backs of the league. Josh Kula likes to run the ball. Nick Lair likes to run the ball. I feel like it's gonna be a close one, but I feel like Joey Freeburn is kind of that factor that kind of brings down the Hornets, and I think the Panthers are going to get the win in this one. The Panthers, I feel like they feel like they got cheated out. So did the Hornets, and they're going to come in. They're both going to come into that game with some fire in them. So I feel like it should be a pretty intense and physical one. And for our second game, we have the Dolphins and the Aggies. You know, my team, the Dolphins, undefeated. Probably, I think we've run around 13 straight games. We're just rolling here. We got some momentum heading back into the playoffs. I feel like Marshall Levinson coming into this game, he's going to be a little rattled, and especially if Reed Morris makes his expected first start of the season, I feel like it's not going to be good for him, especially coming into his first game and playing a team with such caliber like the Dolphins. Any rookie, it's just going to be very difficult to come into that game with. So, with that being said, I'm going to have to go with my team, the Dolphins, and yet again, I'm going to pull a quote from Mr. Chase Aiken. The moment you doubt yourself, that's the moment you're going to lose the game. And we're not doubting ourselves in this one. We're taking this thing all the way. We're gonna win this game tonight, and we're gonna head to the game next Saturday, and we're gonna win some awards, and then we're gonna win the one that means the most, the trophy, the championship trophy. We're gonna win that. We're gonna win it all. So, and the Mustangs and Longhorns game, the winner who will basically be battling for second against the Dolphins. But that being said, this is going to be a fantastic game. I mean, Red River rivalry's coming up. So you got the Longhorns, the Mustangs lost their rivalry game against TCU. You know, the battle for the skillet. I like Bevo. I mean, he's just a fantastic guy. I mean, I like Bevo. Here, give me that helmet. The Texas helmet. Oh. Bevo's just he's a great animal. He's a great animal. He's a little lazy. I also like Smokey. Smokey the Mustang. Come here, Smokey. Come here. Smokey. I like Smokey. With that being said, I feel like Bevo and Smokey are both fantastic candidates to be picked this week. To be able to compete for the national title, it's a very big honor. Like I said, Bevo, he's a little lazy. Don't tell him I said that though. Smokey, he's a front runner. He's got speed, aggression, agility. Normally you don't see that in a horse. I feel like Matthew Kessel is going to come out. He's going to throw 3 picks. Mark my words, 3 interceptions. Matthew Kessel is going to throw. Arash Shakib's not playing this week. His replacement, Sam Reynolds, he's going to go off on Garrett Field like he did last week. And that's why I'm going with Smokey, and I'm heading with the Mustangs. Woo! Come here, Chase. Come here, Chase. That concludes another week of BYFL Game Day. See you next week for our championship edition of BYFL Game Day.
To conclude our episode, we'd like to give a special thanks to all those people that are fighting through cancer or have fought through cancer. Keep fighting and push on. BYFL.